This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there, it's Jeff Cutter W. Welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And this birthday boy is someone I really loathe. Not love, but loathe. I hate this guy because of his steroid problems, and basically, he was the great hope of home run hitting. But he just happened to take drugs and steroids and all that, like Barry Bonds. Like, fuck. Um, in the back of my head, this guy also, I'm also doing this because my best buddy, Bill Lang, his birthday is coming up shortly. Coming up tomorrow, July 28th. So basically, he likes A-Rod for some reason. But anyhow, Alex Rodriguez was born July 27, 1975. So he is now 46 years old. He played 22 years in baseball. I didn't know he played that many years. I thought he only played like 17. Like 2013 was his last year. I guess not. He played for Seattle from 94 to 2000. He is. And then he played 3 forgettable years in Texas. And then he went with the Yankees for 13 years. I didn't know he was that much. He's now part owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Why Minnesota? I don't know. Anyway, he was a highly touted prospect, one of the best players of all time. A-Rod's batting average was 295 in his career, 696 home runs, over 2,000 RBIs, over 2,000 runs scored, over 3,000 hits, and over 300 stolen bases. The only player in MLB history to achieve those feats. He was a 14-time All-Star, 3 MVPs, 10 Silver Sluggers, and 2 Gold Gloves. Gold Gloves, really? Anyway, he holds the record for Grand Slams with 25. And he's signed 2 of the most lucrative sports contracts in baseball history. Seattle drafted A-Rod first overall in 93, and he debuted the following year, 94, at age 18. He ended up being the starting shortstop for the Mariners in 96, took home a batting title, and took second place in the AL MVP voting. He was a cornerstone of the franchise, but he decided to join the Texas Rangers after free agent in 2000 for free agency. He played 3 years with Texas and then was traded to the Yankees, where he became a third baseman at the risk of upsetting shortstop Derek Jeter, who I also did a video on. A-Rod was 2-time AL MVP with the Yankees and would sign a 10-year contract in 2007. So basically, he was just hampered by injuries, and he would be DH and retired August 12, 2016. He famously denied he would use steroids, but in 2009 he admitted it. And then, when he was recovering from injury, he obtained performance-enhancing drugs thanks to biogenesis. He was given a year plus suspension, like for the 2013, the rest of 2013, and then the entire 2014 season. A-Rod's broadcast for Fox Sports 1 and part of Shark Tank, and part of Sunday Night Baseball too. So anyway, the first pick of the 93 MLB draft went to Seattle, and he did it. He almost played for the University of Miami's baseball team, which was a powerhouse back then, and he almost was recruited to play quarterback for the Hurricanes, which was amazing because Miami had a good team. But he decided to play baseball. A-Rod got a 3-year deal with the Mariners. He would play in the Midwest League. He would jump up all the way to the major leagues by July of 94. He was the third 18-year-old shortstop, major league shortstop since 1900, and the youngest position player in Seattle history. He got his first hit off Sergio Valdez of the Red Sox. A-Rod would only play 17 games for the Mariners. And then he went to AAA to end the 94 season. A-Rod played 48 games in the 95 season. Wasn't really that bad. 5 home runs in 48 games, not bad. A-Rod was on the roster of the famous 95 Mariners playoff roster that shocked the Yankees with that job and all that. A-Rod would then become the regular shortstop for the Mariners and led the AL in a batting average, which was amazing. 36 home runs, 123 RBIs as well. At 21 years old, he was the third youngest American League batting champion, behind Al Kaline and Ty Cobb, both who were 20. He was the first Major League shortstop to win a batting title since 1960. That's amazing. And the first American leaguer since 1944. I would have said Marty Marion, but no, he was a Cardinal. Anyway, A-Rod was just establishing himself as good. He actually ended up second in the AL MVP voting behind Juan Gonzalez. He only missed by 3 points, making it the second closest AL MVP vote in history. A-Rod the next year would bat 300 again, but his production slipped at homers and RBIs. But he would rebound in 98 when he set the American League record for most home runs by a shortstop with 42. In fact, he became the third member of the 40-40 club, meaning 40 plus home runs and 40 plus stolen bases, which is hard to do because you got to be jack of both trades. The other 40-40 club was Ken Senkel, and who else was the 40-40 club? It was Ken Senkel. Barry Bonds in 96 and Alfonso Soriano 2006. No one's done it since 2006. Wow. He finished 9th in MVP, which is kind of awkward, don't you think? So anyway, yeah, he did pretty good for himself. A-Rod did good, but in Seattle moved from the Kingdom to Safeco Field, it was less hitter friendly, but he still did okay. A-Rod basically was going to be the cornerstone of the Mariners franchise after Seattle got rid of Randy Johnson and Ken Griffey Jr. He looked good. A .316 batting average, 41 home runs, 132 RBIs. He was third in MVP voting, but then he became a free agent. He decided to sign with Texas, who were not doing that well. A 10-year deal with $252 million. At that time, if he had signed that deal in 2020, he would have had $379 million, or $37.9 million a year. It was highly criticized because it tied up payroll space. A-Rod actually said that he regretted signing with Texas and almost signed with the Mets instead. That would have been good for Schmidt-Bergen Dyke. So yeah, needless to say, Texas didn't really improve as a team. He was good. In the first season, he did lead the American League in home runs with 52. He looked good. And he was the first player since 1932 to get 50 home runs and 200 hits in a single season. That's not bad. So he did good. Of course, the common misconception to a lot of fans is that A-Rod played for the 2001 Mariners, who won 116 games. That's false. A-Rod didn't play for that team. Ken Griffey didn't play for that team. So amazing how they got 116 wins without two of the most major Seattle Mariners stars of all freaking time. So anyway, A-Rod got 57 home runs in 2002. He became the first player to lead the majors in home runs, RBIs, and total bases in the same year since 1984. His 57 home runs was the sixth most in AL history. Of course, A-Rod seemed to be hitting home runs at a powerful pace. He ended up winning the MVP trophy finally in 2003. However, Texas was a last place team again. And A-Rod would join Andre Dawson of the 87 Cubs as the only players to play on last place teams and within the division, I think, and win the award. Texas needed to get rid of A-Rod in an expensive contract. There was a trade in place for Boston that would have sent Man Ram and John Lester to Texas. So basically, Boston almost got rid of Manny Ramirez and John Lester to Texas. in that trade. But the MLBPA vetoed it because it was a voluntary rejection in salary by Rodriguez. Man, what would the 2004 Red Sox have been? You know, A-Rod. Like, who would be the cornerstone outfielder? You lose an outfielder for an infielder. A-Rod was an infielder. And John Lester, well, man. Aaron Boone would actually have a major injury in 2004 that before the 2004 season that actually helped the Yankees out. So they needed someone at third base. Texas decided to trade A-Rod to the Yankees for Alfonso Soriano. The Rangers would pay 67 of the $179 million left on A-Rod's contract, and A-Rod decided to play third base, paving the way for the trade. Because the Yankees needed a third baseman, and Derek Jeter was at shortstop. He didn't want to piss off the Yankees stuff. It was actually only the second time in MLB history that a reigning MVP was traded. The first was Eddie Collins from the Philly A's to the Chicago White Sox in 1914. A-Rod would have to change his number from 3 to something else because, you know, Yankees number 3 was Babe Ruth. So anyway, he decided to be wear number 13 to honor Dan Marino. And he did decently. 286, 36 home runs, 106 RBIs in his year. So he looked good. A-Rod would somehow lose the ALCS to the Boston Red Sox, the team that almost had him, which was funny. A-Rod got in trouble in Game 6 of the ALCS because he was trying to run and he slapped the ball out of Bronson Arroyo's glove. Unfortunately, that is runner's interference, and basically it was out, and the run was nullified. A-Rod would hit a lot of home runs with the Yankees. Unfortunately, in 2005, he got in trouble because he seemed to be in trouble because in a game against the Blue Jays, he basically distracted third baseman Howie Clark with some kind of move and got pissed off. I said, "Ha! You should not have said that. That's kind of stupid." So A-Rod would win the AL MVP in 2005, becoming the 5th player to win his award with 2 different teams, joining Mickey Cochran, who did it with the A's and Tigers, Jimmy Fox, who did it with the A's and Red Sox, Frank Robinson, who did it for the Orioles and Reds, and Barry Bonds with the Giants and the Pirates. He, in fact, was the first AL MVP that didn't play in the AL West since 1995. That's weird. So for 10 years, for 10 straight, like 9 straight MVPs were from the AL West. That was creepy. Anyway, A-Rod would set age records for youngest to hit 300 home runs, 400, and even 500 home runs. So he was a big hitter. A-Rod trimmed down a bit. Oh, that was 2007. I thought it was 2005 when he did that because it says on Wiki that he sparked controversy when he shouted during a routine play and let an infielder make a pop fly drop, and the Yankees won the game. So A-Rod won the 2007 AL MVP. There were rumors that he was going to opt out and be somewhere else. A-Rod's timing of the announcement happened because it was actually during the 8th inning of Game 4 of the World Series that year, which was kind of pathetic. And Scott Boras was accused of trying to put a selfish interest in that of one individual player above the overall good of the game. A-Rod decided to stay with the Yankees. Scott Boras is his agent, who's basically a piece of shit by a lot of people, said that, I don't know what Boras was up to. I think he just wanted the money. Anyway, A-Rod would sign with the Yankees for 10 years. He seemed good. Unfortunately, in 2009, Sports Illustrated reported that A-Rod tested positive for testosterone and an anabolic steroid in 2003. However, A-Rod a couple days later did admit to it, saying he did take steroids from 2001 to 2003. This time in Texas. That must have pissed off Texas. He was supposed to be in the World Baseball Classic in 2009 for the Dominican Republic this time, which was weird because he was with the Americans in 2006. So he decided to go to the Dominican Republic this time. But he had to withdraw because there was a cyst in his right hip. So A-Rod would have to go through surgery. He would miss the first month. But A-Rod, when he came back, helped the Yankees surge to win the AL East. However, in 2009, by the playoffs, a lot of people basically thought that he had better days. Because of the fact that his postseason just sucked. Dating back to the Game 4 of the 2004 ALCS, he went 0 for 29. However, he hit 2 RBI singles in Game 1 of the ALDS against Minnesota. In the ALCS, he did fantastic, batting 9 for 21, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. And then A-Rod helped the Yankees take down the Phillies in the World Series. He won the postseason MVP award, batting .365 with 6 home runs, 18 RBIs overall. A-Rod, 3 years to the day that he hit his 500th home run, hit his 600th home run off Toronto's Sean Markham. So he looked pretty good and all that. But in 2011, he was put on the DL because of a meniscus tear in his knee. So A-Rod was getting through things. He had arthroscopic surgery in his hip to repair a torn labrum. But A-Rod was embroiled in headlines while rehabbing. He was a central figure in the biogenesis baseball scandal and the performance-enhancing drug stuff. So he went through a few games. So he did play in 2013. He only played 44 games, batting .244 with 7 home runs, 19 RBIs. However, he did hit a grand slam on September 20th, which broke the all-time grand slam record held by Lou Gehrig. By 2014, he was suspended for the year for the biogenesis thing. The Yankees decided to make A-Rod more of a DH now than ever before because of his lack of put Chase Headley for third base. That didn't go over so well. A-Rod would come back from suspension, and he would do pretty well. May 7th, 2015, he took 4th place on the all-time home run list, with a home run of Chris Tillman. And on May 27th, A-Rod set the AL record for most career RBIs, passing Lou Gehrig. He got his 3,000th career hit with a home run over against Texas's Detroit's Justin Verlander, as he joined Wade Boggs and Derek Jeter as the only players to hit a home run in their 3,000th hit. So anyway, A-Rod would basically have problems. They had an event August 12th for him that he would sign with the Yankees as a special instructor and advisor, and then basically he was given a good invitation, and then he got released. So he's done some analyst work. A Sunday night baseball analyst. So A-Rod's been in a few advertisements. He was often criticized for his drug use and being with the Yankees. So it was huge. A-Rod actually founded a holding company in 1996 and made his first investments in 2003. So he's invested in technology, real estate, wellness, and entertainment industries. That's pretty amazing. All of that. A-Rod actually married a psychiatry graduate, and the divorce was 6 years. Yeah, it was a 6 year marriage. I mean, A-Rod had 2 daughters, but of course, there was a divorce by emotional abandonment, and then he decided to date Jennifer Lopez in 2017. However, this April they said that A-Rod and J-Lo have ended their engagement. It's kind of weird. So anyway, A-Rod would give money to the University of Miami, his supposed alma mater, to renovate its baseball stadium. So he's been donating a lot of things. So yeah, A-Rod was a fantastic player and all that. I know we'll get a lot of crap from Bill over the fact that I'm judging A-Rod based on his performance enhancing drugs. But you got to realize that if he doesn't take performance enhancing drugs, he probably would have had more than 690 home runs or whatever he had. It's just simplicity. And nobody seems to realize that. I don't know why. I just don't know. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.